I always imagined spring in the Vermont countryside would be the backdrop of the happiest chapter of my life. Soft green hills rolling into mountains, wildflowers waking up after winter, maple trees dripping sunlight through their branches, and me, Maren Holliday, standing in a lace dress under an old wooden arbor, marrying the man I thought would be my forever. But that was before I learned the truth, before the lie, before the betrayal that fractured something deep inside me. It happened on a Tuesday morning, a Tuesday of all things. Ordinary, boring, harmless Tuesday. I was sitting at my kitchen table, sipping cold coffee and reviewing the final vendor confirmations for our wedding. 3 weeks left. Everything was supposed to be smooth by now. Instead, my phone rang. "Hi, is this Maren?" "Yes, this is she. This is Carolyn from Maple and Moss Florals. I just wanted to follow up about your cancellation." I remember blinking at the wall. Cancellation? I laughed, thinking it had to be a mix-up. "I didn't cancel anything," I said. "Our wedding is still scheduled for May 14th. There was a long pause on the other end, so long I heard her inhale sharply. "Oh, well, your fiancé called yesterday to cancel. He said you two decided not to move forward, and since the deposit was never paid, we've released your date." My stomach dropped so fast I pressed a hand to my chest. "Never paid?" I whispered. "I paid that deposit 6 months ago." "I'm so sorry," she said. "We don't have any record of it." I pulled up the email receipts on my laptop. I remembered the exact moment I paid, how relieved I felt checking one more thing off the wedding list. It was there, the payment confirmation, the screenshot, everything. "I have proof," I said numbly. I can send it to you." She apologized again, but the date was gone. My flowers, gone. My deposit, gone, apparently. And my fiancé had canceled the order behind my back. I stared at my reflection in the laptop screen, noticing the way my bottom lip shook. Why would he do that? I called him immediately. "Beck, why did the florist call me saying you canceled our wedding order?" His voice came through too calm, too smooth. "Oh, that. Yeah. I realized the budget was getting too high. We should talk about cutting back." "We agreed on everything already," I said slowly. "And why would you say I never paid?" There was a dangerous silence. Then he said, "Maren, if you paid, where's the money? Because I didn't see it come out of our shared account." "It came from my personal savings," I replied, heat rising in my throat. "You knew that." He exhaled like I was the inconvenience. "Well, maybe next time discuss things with me before throwing money around." I pulled the phone away from my ear and stared at it like it had grown thorns. Next time, throwing money around? I felt something deep and cold settle in my chest. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't confusion. This was intentional. He canceled my floral order, claimed I hadn't paid, and pretended it was all my fault. But why? What was he trying to do? I didn't realize I was crying until a tear slid onto the keyboard. The Vermont spring sunlight suddenly felt harsh, almost mocking. For weeks, I had been planning a wedding I thought we were building together. I had defended him when friends told me he seemed distracted. I had ignored my mother's raised eyebrow when he missed our last planning meeting. I had convinced myself that love meant patience, that love meant giving someone the benefit of the doubt. But now, it felt like love was the weapon he used to keep me blind. My phone buzzed again. Another vendor, then another. A photographer asking why we backed out. A bakery confirming cancellation. A venue manager wanting to finalize the refund process. Refund process? My blood went cold. Beck hadn't just canceled one thing. He had canceled everything. I opened my email, hands trembling. A flood of cancellation notices filled my inbox, none of which I had approved, none of which I had even seen until now. And every single one claimed the same thing. Deposit never paid. Except I did pay for everything. I had the records, every receipt, every timestamp, every confirmation number. So where did the money go? And why would my fiancé, my future husband, erase every trace of our wedding behind my back? I sat frozen in my kitchen chair, heart beating in slow, painful thuds. I thought he loved me. I thought he wanted to marry me. Was he planning to call the whole thing off? Was he trying to sabotage the wedding on purpose? Or worse, had he already found a way to take my money while making me look irresponsible? The thought sliced through me like ice. I replayed every odd moment from the past month, his sudden interest in my financial accounts, his subtle comments about my over-planning, the way he flinched whenever wedding costs came up. Had he planned this, piece by piece? I pressed my palms to my eyes. "I can't believe this," I whispered. "I can't believe him." My world had tilted sideways. The man I trusted with my future was capable of something I never saw coming. But as the initial shock wore off, something else rose inside me. Not sadness, not confusion. Something sharper. A heat, a spark, a slow-burning fury. If he thought I wouldn't notice. If he thought I wouldn't fight back. If he thought he could rewrite the truth and walk away clean. He clearly forgot who he was dealing with. I opened my bank app. I opened my receipts. And that was the moment I decided. If he wanted to lie, then I would show everyone the truth. But the truth I was about to uncover would be far darker than I imagined. And it all started with one missing payment, one lost deposit, one lie. The lie that would expose everything. And everyone. I clicked open the bank statements and froze when I saw a transaction with his name on it. A transfer I never approved, to a place I didn't recognize. My hand shook as I zoomed in. What exactly had Beck been doing behind my back? When I zoomed into the bank statement, my breath caught in my throat. There it was, clear as day. A transfer of $3,200, the exact amount of my florist deposit, sent to an account labeled Holiday Consulting Services. An account under Beck's last name. Not mine, not ours. His, I whispered. "What the hell?" And scrolled further. There were more transfers. $1,100 from the bakery deposit, $2,500 from the photographer, $4,000 from the venue. Every payment I made, every piece of my dream wedding, rerouted into an account I'd never heard of until now. My hand flew to my mouth as nausea rolled over me. He stole it. He stole everything. Not just emotionally, not just romantically. Financially, methodically, carefully, purposefully. And he thought I'd never notice because he'd buried it under a fake narrative, that I hadn't paid, that I was careless, that the vendors were confused. But the truth sat right in front of me, highlighted in cold blue numbers. Beck siphoned my wedding money into an account under his name. I stood up so quickly my chair scraped across the hardwood floor. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too bright, too suffocating. I paced, my pulse thudding loudly in my ears. Why would he do this? Why would someone who claimed to love me do anything like this? I replayed every conversation we'd had about money. Every moment he dismissed my financial independence. Every time he said, "You don't need to worry about that," or "Let me handle it." He wasn't trying to help. He was trying to control. Beck never wanted a wife. He wanted a wallet. And I had handed him access with a smile, thinking it was trust. The betrayal was a slow, suffocating ache inside my ribs. But underneath it, an unmistakable fire began to grow. I pulled out my phone and dialed the one person who always grounded me, my older sister Juniper. She answered on the second ring. "Maren, you okay? You sound weird." "I need you to come over," I said, voice breaking. "Please." She didn't hesitate. "I'm on my way." While I waited, I printed every receipt, every screenshot, every transfer confirmation. Pages spilled across my table like evidence from a crime scene. Because that's exactly what it was. A crime. 30 minutes later, Juniper burst through the door, still wearing her veterinary clinic scrubs. "Maren, what?" She froze when she saw the table. "What happened?" I handed her the printed statement. She scanned it once, then again, slower. Her lips parted. "Is this Beck?" I nodded. She blinked hard, anger rising behind her eyes. "Maren, he's stealing from you." "I know." "No, you don't understand." She tapped the account name. "This isn't a personal checking account. This is a business account. He opened a company, under his name, using your money." The room tilted slightly. "A company?" I whispered. Juniper nodded. "Holiday Consulting Services? That's not an accident. That's structured, organized. He planned this." The betrayal finally crystallized, not foggy, not confusing anymore, but sharp, unmistakable, undeniable. He wasn't overwhelmed, he wasn't forgetful, he wasn't stressed from work. He had been building something behind my back, something funded entirely by me. My stomach turned. He's been pulling your deposits into his business, Juniper continued, jaw tight, and then telling vendors you never paid so he could keep the money. My knees felt weak, so I sat down. I don't understand, I whispered. What would he even gain from all this? What's the end goal? Juniper hesitated. Maren, I think he's planning to walk away after the wedding. My heart seized. But why steal from me before that? Because he wants a financial cushion before he disappears. Disappear. The word echoed like someone had yelled it in an empty room. Was that his plan all along? To drain my accounts, cancel the wedding step by step, and then vanish before anyone questioned anything? Tears filled my eyes, but not from heartbreak this time. From rage. Pure, steady rage. Juniper put a gentle hand on my shoulder. You listen to me. You are not crazy. You are not dramatic. You are not imagining this. This is fraud. I know, I whispered, and we're going to deal with it. Her certainty steadied me like a handrail in an earthquake. I wiped my face. Okay, so what do I do first? Juniper exhaled, thinking. You gather every receipt, every transaction, every email. You get your bank to pull full statements. And then you talk to every vendor directly and tell them the truth. Don't let him rewrite your story. I nodded slowly. And after the vendors? Juniper's eyes hardened into something fierce. After that, you expose him. A chill ran through me. Expose him. The idea felt dangerous, exhilarating, terrifying, and right. But first, I needed answers. And only one person could give them to me. Beck! I grabbed my keys. Juniper frowned. Wait, where are you going? I'm going to ask him why, I said, voice low, steady. Maren, don't go alone. I'm not scared of him. That's not the point, she insisted. You can't confront someone who lies like this without a witness. I hesitated, she was right. But the fury in me was too hot, too sharp, too consuming. I just need to hear his voice, I said. I need to see if he'll lie straight to my face again. Juniper opened her mouth to argue, but I was already walking out the door. The Vermont air hit my skin, cold, crisp, smelling like pine and melting snow. Spring was supposed to be the season of beginnings. Instead, mine felt like an unraveling. I got into my car, hands trembling on the steering wheel. I didn't even need the GPS. I knew the route to Beck's apartment like the back of my hand. But halfway there, my phone rang. It was him. Beck. I stared at the screen, pulse hammering. I answered. His voice came through light, casual, as if nothing had happened at all. Hey, babe, we still on for dinner tonight? My breath stopped. Dinner. As if he hadn't dismantled our entire wedding, as if he hadn't stolen thousands from me, as if he wasn't building a secret company behind my back. I swallowed hard. Beck, I said, we need to talk. He laughed softly. Uh-oh, that sounds serious. It is. Well, can it wait until tonight? I'm on my way to a meeting. What meeting? There was a pause, a short one, but enough to confirm everything. A client meeting, he finally replied. Why? My grip tightened on the wheel. A client meeting? For a business he created with my money? My voice trembled, not with fear, but with fury barely contained. Beck, what exactly is Holliday Consulting Services? Complete silence. Then, how do you know about that? He said it too fast, too defensive, too scared. In that moment, I knew. He wasn't confused. He wasn't innocent. He wasn't going to explain anything. He was cornered. And cornered people make mistakes. I'm coming to see you, I said quietly. Maren, don't... But I hung up. My heart pounded as I turned onto the main road, the mountains rising in the distance like silent witnesses. Whatever answers he had, whatever lies he planned to tell, I was about to hear them all. But I had no idea the conversation waiting for me would reveal something far worse than stolen money. Something that would change everything. When I pulled into the parking lot outside Beck's apartment building, my pulse was racing so hard it felt like my entire body vibrated. I sat in the car for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, breathing in slow, shaky breaths while trying to anchor myself. You're not the one who did something wrong, I reminded myself. He is. You're here for answers. But even with that truth steadying me, my legs felt unsteady when I stepped out of the car. Beck lived in a renovated mill building overlooking the river. Brick walls, black metal balconies, industrial chic he loved bragging about. Normally, I found the place charming. Today it felt sterile, cold, predatory. I climbed the stairs to the second floor, my footsteps echoing down the hallway. When I reached his door, I raised my hand to knock, only to realize it was already cracked open. Just slightly. Just enough to make my stomach twist. I pushed it gently. "Beck?" The living room came into view, spotless, organized, staged like a rental listing. But the moment I stepped inside, I noticed something off. A suitcase, packed, sitting by the door. My heart hammered. I wasn't imagining it. He was planning to leave. "Beck!" I called again, louder this time. He appeared from the kitchen, phone in hand, wearing the navy button-down he usually saved for important meetings. His face tightened when he saw me. "Maren, what are you doing here? I told you I had a meeting." "I canceled your meeting," I said. His eyes widened. "You what?" "I told your client something came up." "My client?" He stopped abruptly, jaw flexing. "Why would you do that?" "Because we need to talk," I said, stepping deeper into the room. "Now." He opened his mouth to protest, but something in my expression must have warned him. He shut the door fully, and the click of the lock sounded like the start of a battle.